Okay. All right, great. Well, hopefully now the internet works. I'll try to fix it. And before we start, let's make sure that we have a motivation that's most beneficial, focusing just quickly on the welfare of all sentient beings, taking a moment, generating the wish for all sentient beings to be free from suffering and the wish to assist them in that. And aware that this is only possible once we become enlightened. Let's generate the aspiration to become fully enlightened for the welfare of all sentient beings. So, well, firstly, what did we discuss this morning? Just a few things that came up, especially with regard to Buddha nature, evolving, naturally abiding. To check myself what we went through, just a sec. Started, I think, on page 35. So a few things that I mentioned was that there's a way in which naturally abiding Buddha nature, that is the emptiness of the mind, is the basis for the mind, for the evolving Buddha nature, for the mental consciousness. Went through that. And then the signs of having awakened Buddha nature. What does it mean to awaken Buddha nature, Mahayana nature? We had a short discussion on that. That there's a difference, first of all, and that there's certain signs for having awakened them. Then briefly mentioned again here in nature, awakening that, awakening fully to realize that nature, the same as yesterday, so that there's a difference between these natures, that therefore, yeah, like I said, Buddha nature and Mahayana nature are not exactly the same. What does it mean to awaken Mahayana nature? Great compassion, and why that is the case. Well, we did discuss that. That is your homework, if you like, or your in-between work. And what else? Oh, and very important, I briefly went through this verse by Uttara Tantra, the Sublime Continuum, this verse where the reasons are given for why everyone has the potential to become Buddha. Yeah, that's it. It established that everyone has the potential to become a Buddha. Why? Well, because the enlightened activity is everywhere, it's all pervasive. The actual nature of our mind and that of a Buddha is the same. And of course, we all have the potential of Buddha nature. Therefore, everyone can become enlightened. And when it says in some of the sutras that this is not the case, well, we just apply the kind of aspects of an interpretative sutra, the intended meaning, the purpose for giving this literal teaching, and of course the damage to the meaning, to that literal meaning. Okay, so that's basically what we went through. It wasn't that hard to understand, but hopefully completes our understanding of what Buddha nature is all about. Okay, great. And then next, what I'd like to do before we start meditating is something that is mentioned on page 46, 47, towards the end of 46, and then it continues on page 47. Someone kind of mentioning a debate saying, okay, now everything we've heard about the two types of Buddha nature makes sense. Everyone's got it, the reason given, but why is not everyone enlightened yet? I mean, since beginning this time, are you kidding me? So We've had every sentient being has been my mother. Every sentient being has been my father. Not just once, but limitless times. We've heard that in different contexts. We're familiar with that. So we've done everything. We've done, like, there's nothing, again, in the context of like generating renunciation. So in the context of generating more love and compassion for sentient beings, becoming aware that all sentient beings have at some point been so close to us in that context. And then in order to generate renunciation, well, you were so busy doing this, doing that, becoming, I don't know, making a career, doing all sorts of worldly things. And then in order to understand, well, we've done all of that. We've done it all. There's nothing in this world we haven't done. So therefore, well, let's practice the Dharma. We've had these explanations over and over again. Also, in terms of karma, we've accumulated all types of karma. We've been in all realms. We've any type of karma we've accumulated. So let's not feel safe if there's no problem right now. We need to purify. So in that context, we hear these teachings over and over that we've done everything. We've had all relationships. And the question that arises naturally, therefore, is why we're not enlightened yet? We've done everything. We've had relationships with everyone. Why are we not Buddhas yet? Since beginning this time, I mean, that's a long time. And so, therefore, what is it? And doubt may arise. Of course, this is an important question. That isn't possible to become a Buddha. Since beginning this time, if I really believe that there is, that I have existed since beginning this time, if I believe that, and then at the same time, look around and I go, wow, not everyone's become enlightened. I mean, from all the people I know, no one is enlightened, though I don't really know that. And how many people do I really know? I mean, maybe I have 1,000 Facebook friends, but, don't even know them. But anyway, so the point is here, that question may arise, and it may, of course, be responsible for doubts, and it needs to be addressed. Now, let's look at it. I don't know whether this really answers it, but here's page 46. It says, however, since all sentient beings are the focus of the enlightened activities of the Buddha, surely, I mean, they're focused on us, on all of us. And the number of Buddhas who have come to this world equals the amount of dust particles in the bed of the river Ganges. Okay, no, Ganges, it's the river Ganges. So in India, one of the holiest river, of course, is the river Ganges. And if you think of this incredibly long river, the bed of the riverbed is made of sand or dust. So all these dust particles, I mean, endless dust particles, they equal the amounts of Buddhas. I mean, I don't know whether they do, but they actually, I mean, it's not literally saying that they do, but it's just there's so many Buddhas in the past, and they're all focused on us. So why are we not enlightened yet? We all have Buddha nature. They're all looking after us. What is the reason that some sentient beings, including ourselves, despite being endowed with, despite having Buddha nature, have not yet attained nirvana? Well, not even Buddhahood, but not attained nirvana yet. Well, and the reason given here is that those sentient beings are affected by the 4 hindrances to Buddha nature. So all of us are affected by, for at least some of the 4. I mean, not all of them, but some of them. All right. So the 4 hindrances to Buddha nature are, have you very strong afflictions? I mean, we have very strong afflictive emotions. We have attachment. I mean, attachment is so strong. Attachment is so very strong. Sometimes it just needs the arising of a situation once, and we're right away attached. We're right away attached. I don't know, even with regard to the Dharma. I mean, even when it comes to the Dharma, I don't know, to just give you a simple example, if you've ever been to Dharamsala and received teachings by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and let's say His Holiness walks past you and suddenly stops and talks to you, right? And then continues. And you're like, whoa. And what happens? You want it to happen again next day. It only happened once, right? It happened once. I mean, it's a lifetime thing. You probably want to, but you want it again. So you're ready for it to happen again, right? That would be an example. So just once, you just needed that one time. I mean, it's not true for everyone. Some people are like, okay, that's enough for a lifetime. I can stand in the back and then someone else gets the blessing. Fine. anyway, like I said, it's like this whole blessing stuff. It's not something physical. It's nice, but anyway. But the point is, our mind gets attached right away. Certain type of food. Meow. I mean, just in case, I mean, like I can only watch my own mind, but in my own mind, it's like amazing. Right away, I get attached. Little things attached. I mean, my mind doesn't know anything but just getting attached all the time. So that's just the vast of all the different afflictive emotions. And then there is anger, and then there is envy, and then there is jealousy and envy, a little different. Then there's arrogance, then there's wrong views. I mean, all day long. Very strong afflictions. I mean, I would call my afflictions strong in that they're ever present and they're strong enough. I was strong enough to make sure I'm totally caught in samsara. So there's that most important reason. Being influenced by bad companions. Okay. Well, bad companions doesn't necessarily mean friends or relatives. It just means the people we're around. Bad in the sense also not saying, oh no, these bad people. Here means like, it means in the sense like people who are not interested in the Dharma, who are, even if they're Buddhists, even if but they're, of course, we live in society and the people around us do influence us. And we need to become aware. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be friends with, like, we can be friends with anyone, but not allow ourselves to be influenced by their way of life. And so, I mean, the situation I am right now, usually I live in Dharamsala, I have all these Dharma friends around me, and suddenly I'm around people who can barely spell Buddhism. I mean, well, but who cares about that? But who have no interest. I mean, I live in this area that is so Catholic, you wouldn't believe it. Until not that long ago, Catholics and Protestants couldn't date. I mean, my mom had a boyfriend who was Protestant, and she wasn't allowed to date him because he was. I mean, that's quite a few years back, but still so Catholic and so not Buddhist where I live. And it's like I'm in this bubble, no one really knows what I'm doing. So, but it's okay for a while because, I've got my friends in Dharamsala, I've got WhatsApp, so I'm okay. But the point is, we need the people around us. We need the Sangha, of course, and we may get influenced. And I love this. I love this when people sometimes say about the life of monks and nuns, or even the Dharma life, that is not the normal life. It's not normal. The normal life is the life that other people lead. And those are usually the people who are not interested in the Dharma. That's what we call normal. I don't know why that is so normal. It's actually quite absurd. I mean, in many ways, just making money. Oh my God. Some of my siblings, one of my siblings, it's just money. It's nothing but money. She's proud to say money is most important, right? So it's just, it's incredible. And that's considered normal. So anyway, she's a lovely person, by the way, nothing about that, but all the time and energy is spent just on making money. And that is normal just because everyone does it. But anyway, so we're influenced by that. We're influenced by that which other people do, which is considered to be normal. I'm influenced, and so is everyone else. Okay. So becoming enlightened is not the main agenda. It's not like, what is your career kind of aspiration? Becoming enlightened. It's like, whoa, who's that hippie? Okay. So that's the first one. Being influenced by these kind of companions, the people around us. Being deprived of the necessities of life. Okay, we don't need to worry about that. I don't think that's an issue for us. I mean, being deprived of the necessities of life, although we may actually be in a situation, of course, where we've got so many responsibilities and it's so hard, to do a long-term retreat and so forth. We just can't do it. We lack the funds, we lack the time. Of course, that's also, maybe we have an elderly parent we need to look after. Practicing, of course, we try to bring the Dharma into our daily life and practice as well as we can. But let's be realistic, just that will not lead us to enlightenment. Also, we need shamatha and so forth, really do some long-term retreats. And again, that will then be difficult. Being under the control of other sentient beings. So that's a little different to being influenced. That shows a certain degree of freedom, at least that we can make a choice of what we choose to follow what other people do versus being under the control of others. Am I under the control of another person? Possible, maybe being under the control of a parent, being under the control of a government that's very oppressive. So it's dangerous, possibly, to be Buddhist to a degree that it could get you to be imprisoned or even, well, punished in different ways, depending on where and when you lived, not where you live. Yeah, and all the other people around you under the control of them. Okay, it's hard for us to think that way in the West. It's less likely, but anyway. So those are the reasons. But I personally believe it's the first one is really the most that's the inner. I mean, it's the other three are external reasons, the last three are external reasons, but the first one is an internal reason, and that is the main cause. All right. So let's see, is that true? Is that true in our own case? And I thought to do some meditation now, okay, to focus on these 4 hindrances, but just to bring in a few things also, well, to mention, I think we studied about Vaibhashika and Satantrika, the way they assert Buddha nature. Are we satisfied with little? Let's just reflect on our own life. Do we have, let me just quickly go, where was it in the very beginning? Just that you're, remember, where was Buddha nature from the point of view of the Vaibhashika? And I'm just going to apply it to does anyone know the page number where it was on? Yeah,
6.
Page 6, yes. So being satisfied, here I'm going to say with simple clothing, okay, satisfied with simple dwellings, and satisfied with simple food, healthy but simple. And then, of course, taking great delight in overcoming afflictions and meditation. So here to take the time to reflect, just reflect. Is this true for myself? If yes, well, can I change it? Okay, so let's do this analysis. And then I try to bring in other aspects as well. All right. So we'll start with some breathing meditation, as usual, just to stabilize the mind. So what we've learned so far is that we all have the potential all of us have the capacity to become fully enlightened. Our mind has everything it needs to transform into the enlightened mind of a Buddha. It has all the ingredients, so to speak, to eventually become enlightened. So why is it we're still stuck in samsara? We've existed, that is our mind, its stream of awareness has existed since beginningless time. And besides Buddha Shakyamuni, there's said to be so many Buddhas, so many who attained enlightenment. Who can potentially guide us, show us how to purify our mind from everything that is not in the nature of our mind. In order to become enlightened. And we have Buddha nature. Well, in the scriptures, it is said that there are 4 hindrances, 4 reasons why we're still unenlightened, unliberated. So, without following the order as they're presented, One hindrance is that we may lack the necessities, the financial means, or just the time to engage in Dharma practice. Is that true in your own case? Could you make more time for your daily practice? Or even for some retreat? Or to simply be more mindful, to bring the Dharma into all your ordinary activities. Second, are you under the control of another person? Someone who doesn't allow you to practice the Dharma? Or an institution who forbids you to do so? Because there may be a way, in case we are in this situation, to free ourselves from the control someone has over us. And then the third hindrance is that we're influenced by what are called bad companions. By our friends or family or people we work with. Do we do certain things just because everyone else does. Or we don't practice the Dharma just because other people don't. But does that really bring me happiness? Following what everyone else does. Is there a way I can practice the Dharma, make more space, focus more on my practice, even without anyone else knowing about it? Or only a few people being aware of it? Since I don't need to advertise what I do. But the main hindrance is the internal hindrance of being under the control of so many afflictions. So check in your own case. How about aversion, anger? Is that a mental factor that is a problem in your own life? Holding on to, for instance, dislike towards another person. Which is a form of aversion. What about envy? Being attached to something that you really want to have for yourself or attain for yourself. And then resenting someone else for having it, for attaining it. Jealousy, a case of someone being close to a person you're close to. Resenting them for that closeness. And then there's good old attachment. How attached are you to your possessions? To your family? Your children? Or parents? Your friends? And colleagues? How attached are you to your reputation? Your good reputation? How attached are you to praise and to not being criticized? How attached are you to gaining things and to avoid loss, losing money or other possessions? How attached are you to pleasant experiences and to avoiding any unpleasant experience? In short, how attached are you to yourself and to that which is yours? Having reflected in that way, it may become a little clearer why we're still not liberated, not yet enlightened, still stuck in our old habits. But we have Buddha nature. We have the potential to change. So maybe there's a way to make an effort to reduce these hindrances. Practice generosity, material things, and of kindness. And that way create the causes for not being deprived of financial means and lack of time. Making sure not to control others, in order not to be controlled by others ourselves. not allow ourselves to be influenced by what we call normal, by what other people consider important, by applying our own wisdom, our own understanding. And of course, to work harder with our own afflictive emotions, to try and reduce them. Starting with our self-centeredness. By weakening that sense, I'm the center of the universe. My family is more important than others. My possessions are more valuable. My reputation, my good name is important. In short, reducing our attachment, I and mine. And that way also reduce our attachment towards the clothes we wear, how many shoes do we really need? How often do we really need to buy new stuff? And throw things away to add to the endless garbage in this world. And is there a way in which we can reduce our attachment to the place we live in? Just live a little simpler. Reduce some of the possessions that we endlessly need to clean and look after. and be satisfied with healthy yet simple food. And most importantly, find joy in practicing the Dharma. Learning more about it. Contemplating its meaning. And making it part of our everyday life. Through working even harder to become mindful of our own afflictions and in trying to reduce them. Finding joy in doing so. Now, to conclude this analysis, spend a few moments just focusing single-pointedly on whatever conclusion you've come to, whatever insight you've gained. And allow for this insight in a single-pointed fashion to sink deeper into your mind. So that it can bring about deeper changes. And then gently rise from your meditation. Okay. Oh, that was quite long. Anyway, so I hope this reflection, this internalizing of at least the hindrances, and of course also of these attributes as described by the Vaibhashika and Sautrantika, that they are, well, giving you a sense of how you could bring this into your own life if you didn't have that sense already before. And then we'll continue with the material before we do another meditation. Okay, how much time? Oh, time. What about time? Time is almost up. 5 minutes.
The break, yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes, all right. So no meditation in this session, but the next session again. All right, questions? Any questions so far? I haven't really asked before. Really, if you've got any questions so far, you're welcome.
Yes, please. May
Yes, of course.
The Arya nature, according to Vaibhashika and Sautrantika, we learned that it has 4 aspects.
Yes.
But how do they define this phenomena, this object, this area? What is it if not a seed? Or what is it that which has four aspects? The Arya nature.
Right. Well, they don't define it. They don't say anything. Well, what is Arya nature? Having those four attributes. So they basically say these four, if you have those, you have Arya nature. That's it. Yeah.
If there are no, I'll see if there are no other questions. I have another one.
Sure. I don't see any virtual hand or no. Yeah, please go ahead.
When we studied a few years ago about bodhicitta, that bodhicitta is the wish to attain enlightenment, and
for the
question
welfare
was,
of all sentient beings. Very important.
for the welfare
Yeah.
of all sentient beings.
Yeah.
And the question was, does the Buddha has this wish to become? And the answer was that he has bodhicitta, but the bodhicitta has another meaning, another.
Yes.
Don't we have anything for Buddha nature? So the Buddha doesn't have Buddha nature. It sounds what?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I mean, there's definitely the sense that, well, the Buddha must have bodhicitta. But it's also a little odd because bodhicitta is like wanting to become a Buddha, so wanting to attain something that you haven't attained yet. And so still they say, no, the Buddha doesn't have the wish as such. It's not like that. But the function of that mind, that is the same. So it's not like the Buddha loses that function of the mind. And that's why there's this, well, insistence, if you like, on, yeah, the Buddha has bodhicitta because he doesn't lose that mind. So I guess you could say, well, with Buddha nature, it's slightly different because it's not about a mind in the sense that wishing for this and wishing for that and then losing it or not losing it. You know, it's more like an entity such as emptiness or well, mental consciousness, the stream of consciousness in the continuum of someone who hasn't reached the state of a Buddha yet, right? By definition, haven't reached the state of a Buddha yet. That is Buddha nature. And when someone has reached that state, well, the definition is no longer given, right? If you say bodhicitta, like the problem with bodhicitta really is the Buddha's, what happened to his bodhicitta? What happened to this incredible love and this aspiration to be active as an enlightened being? I mean, this is really like you wish for enlightenment, you wish for that enlightened, for that state, to be in that state to benefit others. And the Buddha is still, you know, I mean, wishing for it, not in the sense that we wish for it, but having that aspirational function of like, yeah, I'm a Buddha, I want to benefit others. So in that sense, they insist, yeah, bodhicitta continues. All right, but it's a good question. Good point. All right, 5 minutes up. Yep, only 1 minute left. So I don't see any questions. If you do have questions, you're always welcome to ask. I hope it's not because you're so confused there's not even a question to formulate. Anyway, but let's take that 1 minute we've got left before lunch to dedicate whatever positive potential we've accumulated, studying, contemplating, and this time meditating, internalizing what we've learned. May this become a cause for us to utilize our Buddha nature, to overcome these four hindrances, reduce them first, and eventually to overcome them and become fully enlightened for the welfare of each and every sentient being. All right, thank you and enjoy your lunch. I'll see you again in exactly an hour. Is that right, Toma?
See you in an hour.
In an hour. All right.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you.